Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine, right, a future where you don't open an app or, click a button.
Hmm.
What if your technology just knew what you needed, delivering these seamless experiences maybe even before you thought to ask?
Yeah,
I mean, in today's fast-paced digital world, it feels like everything is constantly changing, especially how we interact with tech.
absolutely. It's relentless.
But what if the very interfaces we use are set to, well, disappear? Or at least fundamentally change into something almost invisible?
That's precisely the fascinating transformation we're diving into today. It's a huge shift.
Okay.
So, this deep dive will explore how artificial intelligence is radically redefining user experience design, moving way beyond the traditional screens we're all glued to.
Right.
And we'll be using KXS Digital Consulting and Coaching as a key example here. They have this really unique brain-based digital strategy, and honestly, their insights are truly illuminating what this future looks like.
Brain-based.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So our mission today is really to distill how organizations are navigating this profound shift, how they optimize customer journeys, drive business success, even when the interface becomes, well, practically unseen.
KCS Distal then. Sounds like they're right at the cutting edge of this.
They really are trying to be.
What makes their approach, especially this brain-based digital strategy, so unique and powerful? It definitely sounds like more than just standard UX.
Well, what's truly unique, I think, is their multidisciplinary foundation and how they apply it.
Okay.
KXS Digital isn't just looking at, typical design principles. They're actively leveraging expertise from neuroscience.
Neuroscience, really.
Yeah, neuroscience, media studies, and human-computer interaction. They use all that to not just design, but to truly optimize the customer journey from a much deeper level.
Okay, so deeper than just clicks and screens.
Exactly. Aiming to increase ROI, sure, but also really help businesses grow sustainably. Their core services reflect this. They offer UX research and design, but using methods supported by neuroscience. They're literally looking at how the brain processes information during interactions.
Wow.
They also do audience analysis using what they call psychosocial frameworks.
Psychosocial. What does that mean in practice?
Basically, it means they analyze how both social dynamics and individual psychology shape user behavior.
Hmm.
It's about understanding the why behind the clicks, the motivations.
Got it. The deeper drivers.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And finally, they offer digital strategy coaching for leaders to actually help them implement these sometimes complex insights.
So they're digging deep into human behavior. That sounds incredibly powerful for crafting digital experiences. What kind of specific capabilities does that translate into? Like, what do they do?
It means they're looking at things like customer journey mapping, but with a cognitive lens.
Right.
Digital field work, seeing how people actually use technology in their real environment, not just in a lab.
Right. The messy reality.
Exactly. Product market fit validation, user testing, cognitive learning strategy. They even dive into psychometrics.
Psychometrics.
Yeah.
Like personality testing.
Sort of, yeah. It's a science of measuring mental capacities and processes. They use it to genuinely understand their audience way beyond just surface-level demographics.
Okay.
It's all about elevating digital experiences by focusing on the audience in a really profound way.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. This idea of vanishing interfaces, it isn't just speculation, right?
No, not at all.
It's a concept being championed by, well, usability guru Jacob Nielsen himself.
That's right.
He recently posed this truly provocative question in an article. No more user interface.
Yeah, quite the headline.
Is traditional UI design truly dying then? I mean, it feels almost unthinkable.
It's a fantastic question, and Nielsen clarifies it beautifully, actually. He says UI design doesn't entirely die, but its center of gravity moves.
Moves where?
Well, the old rule book for interaction design, it was about taking a task someone wants to do and translating it into something you could see and interact with on a screen, buttons, menus, icons.
Standard stuff, yeah.
Now, the new mandate, as Nielsen puts it, is shaping what he calls systems of intent.
Systems of intent.
Yeah. Through orchestrated services, guardrails, feedback loops, it signifies a fundamental shift. AI is no longer just a behind-the-scenes enhancement to an existing UI.
Like a spell checker or something.
Exactly. Now, AI is becoming the scene of user interaction itself. It is the primary way you interact.
That's a profound redefinition.
Yeah.
So how does this progression of AI products actually lead to such a dramatic shift where the interface starts to, well, fade away?
Yep.
Is there a framework or something we can use to understand this evolution, from simple recommendations to these invisible agents?
Absolutely. Luke Wroblewski outlines 6 stages of AI products, and they paint a very clear picture of this progression. Each stage has its own core UX challenge, which is really illuminating.
Okay, lay them out for us.
Right. First, from about 2016 to 2022, we had stage 1, ML behind the scenes.
Uh,
Think Google Translate, YouTube recommendations, models quietly powering features without you directly, talking to them.
well, it just happened.
Yeah. The UX challenge there was basically integrating AI output smoothly into existing UI patterns. Make it look natural.
Makes sense. Stage 2.
Then, late 2022 came stage 2, chat interfaces, like ChatGPT. Suddenly, conversation became the product.
Huge shift.
Massive. The UX challenge instantly shifted to conversation design, prompt scaffolding. How do you guide someone to talk effectively to an AI?
Yeah, prompting is key.
Stage 3, around 2023, we saw retrieval augmented products. Think ChatGPT getting web access.
Connecting to the real world.
Exactly. The AI could pull in external context, boosting quality, reliability, trust, hopefully. The UX challenge became showing provenance, citations.
Where'd you get that info?
Precisely. Those digital breadcrumbs show your work.
Okay, what's next?
Looking to now, 2024, 2025, we're moving into stage 4, tool use and foreground agents.
Okay, agents taking action.
Yeah, models, chaining tools together, planning steps. Think of an agent that could book your travel or manage your calendar proactively.
Like a realist.
Getting there. For UX, this means visualizing those plans for the user, letting them see what the AI is doing, and crucially, allowing mid-task edits. Let me jump in and refine things.
Control is still important.
Very. Then stage 5, maybe 2025 and beyond, we anticipate background agents. Multiple agentic workflows running mostly unattended.
So AI doing complex stuff without me watching.
Pretty much like an AI scheduling your team's tasks automatically based on priorities and availability. The UX challenge there shifts again. It moves from direct interaction to dashboards for monitoring, alerts, confidence signals.
How do I know it's doing okay?
That's the question. How do you trust it when you're not watching it second by second?
And the final stage?
Stage 6 is still emerging.
Yeah.
Agent-to-agent ecosystems, where different AI agents start talking to each other across different products, negotiating, handing off tasks.
Whoa. Like my calendar agent talking to my travel agent.
Exactly. Think of Google's A2A protocol as an early example. This brings huge challenges around defining handoffs, permissions, audit trails. How do these things work together safely and effectively across totally different silos?
Wow, that's quite a roadmap. It really paints a picture of this deeply embedded intelligence. But, okay, for designers working now in this rapidly evolving landscape, what are the immediate practical steps they should be taking, especially while traditional UI still has a place? And maybe, what's the most critical one to start with?
That really is the million-dollar question for every designer out there right now.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one critical thing to start with, I'd say it's understanding that mental models lag behind capability. Meaning each jump in AI power, like going from a simple chatbot to a complex agent that can do things, completely resets user expectations and understanding.
Right, people don't automatically get what it can do now.
Exactly. So investing heavily in onboarding becomes paramount, not just feature tours, but onboarding that genuinely helps users reframe what the system is and how to think about interacting with it. If users don't grasp the new paradigm, even the most brilliant AI will just feel confusing or frustrating.
So user education and mental model shifting is number one. What else?
Well, beyond that, designers need to consciously decide where AI truly belongs. Is it in the UI, like a visible chat window or an explicit agent you interact with? Or is it under the UI, subtly enhancing things like predictive text or smart autocomplete?
In it or under it, okay.
And the locus of control is constantly shifting. Nielsen calls for orchestration UI.
Orchestration UI, like conducting an orchestra.
Kind of. It's essentially new interface elements designed to help users manage and monitor these increasingly complex AI agents. Think about things like task queues showing what the AI is working on, maybe progress bars that actually show the AI thinking or checking sources are really important, instant undo buttons if an agent starts going off the rails.
Right, a safety net.
Exactly. It becomes less about direct moment-to-moment control and more about guiding and overseeing a highly capable assistant.
So it's about transparency and giving users a sense of agency, even as the AI takes on more responsibility. That makes sense? What about trust? How does that change when the interface becomes less visible, more inferred?
That's a huge point. Trust shifts fundamentally from outputs to process.
From the answer to how it gave the answer.
Precisely. In these retrieval, augmented, and agentic stages, things like provenance indicators, Those digital breadcrumbs showing exactly where the AI got its information become critical.
Right, the citations.
Yeah,
Okay.
along with step-by-step visibility of what the agent is doing and quick fix affordances if it messes up. Those things build confidence far more than simply getting a perfect but completely opaque answer.
Because if you don't know how it got there.
You might not trust it, even if it happens to be right. And error handling also escalates dramatically. Well, behind the scenes, ML might fail quietly. Maybe a recommendation is slightly off, no big deal. But an autonomous agent making decisions, it could waste significant time, resources, even real money if it screws up.
The stakes are higher?
Much higher. So robust guardrails like setting cost limits, defining operational boundaries, and clear escalation paths for when things go wrong become absolutely essential design components.
That's a powerful point about trust shifting to process. And it sounds like designers are essentially becoming architects of a totally new kind of interaction. What new design areas are emerging from this shift?
We're seeing entirely new design domains pop up. There are what some are calling policy surfaces.
Policy surfaces.
Yeah, places within the design, maybe not traditional screens, where designers help define and users might interact with permissions, ethical boundaries, spending limits for AI agents, like setting the rules of engagement.
Okay, defining the sandbox the AI plays in.
Exactly. And then there are confidence conveyors.
Confidence conveyors.
Yeah. Things like uncertainty meters, visual cues showing how sure the AI is about its answer or action, or graceful rollbacks if something goes wrong, making it easy to undo. We're essentially trading traditional wireframes for something more like operating manuals or rule books.
Wow.
These documents codify the rules for what people are calling agent choreography or experience governance. How should these agents behave? How do they interact?
So it's less pixel pushing, more system thinking.
Absolutely. It really demands a blend of classic information architecture, sure, but also conversation design, operations thinking, and even behavioral economics. It's a much broader skill set.
So what does this all mean then for how we approach designing these new experiences? It sounds like service design is maybe the closest current analog to this evolving UX work, almost like a blueprint for this new invisible interface world.
Yes, I think that's a great way to put it.
Can you give us a clear definition of service design and explain why it's becoming so incredibly critical right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Service design is becoming incredibly critical, especially as AI pushes us beyond just thinking about screens. At its core, service design is the activity of planning and organizing a business's resources.
Resources
Like its people, its props, which can be physical or digital tools, anything needed to deliver the service and its processes.
Okay, people, props, processes.
Right. Organizing those things specifically to directly improve the employee's experience, and by doing that, indirectly improve the customer's experience.
Interesting focus on the employee experience first.
It's key. And especially relevant because in today's world, the old distinction between goods and services has just completely blurred, hasn't it? We often have these complex combined offerings that are neither purely a physical product nor purely an intangible service.
Right, everything's kind of a hybrid now.
Exactly.
So service design looks at the whole ecosystem, not just the part the customer sees. Can you give us a concrete example, maybe where service design is missing? Make it tangible.
Oh, sure. Think about that classic, incredibly common frustration. You call a support hotline, right?
Yes.
You explain your whole problem, give all your details, account numbers, only to be transferred to another department.
And have to repeat everything from scratch.
Exactly. That specific pain point, that stems directly from an internal process flaw. A lack of cohesive service design behind the scenes.
I see.
The front-facing interaction the agent you first spoke to might seem fine in isolation, but the backstage operations, how information flows or doesn't flow between departments, are completely disjointed,
Yes.
and that breaks the overall experience.
Okay.
Service design aims to identify and fix those often overlooked internal processes, the backstage stuff, that can completely break even the most complex user experiences.
That's a perfect illustration. So can you break down the main components of service design for us? You mentioned people, props, processes. How do they relate to what the customer sees versus what they don't?
Certainly. So those three main components, people, that's anyone who creates or uses the service, employees, customers, even external partners sometimes.
Correct.
Second, props. These are the physical or digital artifacts needed. Could be web pages, software systems, digital files, physical products, store layouts, anything tangible or digital involved.
Got it.
And third, processes. These are any workflows, procedures, or even rituals performed by either the employee or the user. Think about the steps for ordering food online or the internal procedure for resolving a support ticket.
Right, the sequence of actions.
Exactly. Now, to make this clearer, let's use the classic restaurant analogy.
Okay, I like analogies.
The people would be the chefs, the servers, the managers, the customers. Props are the kitchen equipment, the ingredients, the point of sale system, the dining tables, the menus. Processes are things like the workflow for taking an order, cooking the food, cleaning the dishes, handling payments.
Makes sense.
But crucially, these components are then divided into front stage and backstage.
The performance metaphor.
Exactly. Front stage is everything the customer directly sees and interacts with. The channels, the products, the touch points, the interfaces. In our restaurant, it's the dining room itself, the menu design, the server interacting with you at the table.
What I experienced directly.
Right. Backstage is everything the customer doesn't see, but which is absolutely critical to making the experience work. Things like internal policies, the technology infrastructure, inventory systems, staff training programs.
So the kitchen operations, the supply chain.
Precisely. The kitchen, the inventory management, the hiring process for staff. And the key insight is, what happens backstage dictates the quality and nature of the front stage experience entirely. A chaotic kitchen leads to bad food and slow service, no matter how nice the dining room looks.
That distinction between front stage and backstage feels absolutely key. It really sounds like service design goes way beyond what we traditionally think of as just user experience design.
It really does.
So how does service design differ from simply designing a service? They sound so similar, but clearly, based on what you're saying, they aren't the same thing at all.
It's a really common point of confusion, actually, and it's vital to get clear on it. Designing a service, what many UX designers do, typically focuses on the touch points that create the customer's journey.
So designing the app, the website, the chatbot interface.
Exactly. The visible interactions, that's the user experience part. Service design, on the other hand, addresses how the organization actually gets something done. It's about the employee experience, the internal processes, the technology integration, the hidden choreography behind the scenes.
Okay, the how versus the what the customer sees.
You got it. And the critical takeaway, the thing to really internalize, is that an organization's backstage processes often have as much, if not more, impact on the overall user experience as those visible points of interaction the user encounters directly.
Right, like the call center example.
Perfect example. If those internal processes are disjointed or broken, no matter how slick or beautiful the visible interface is, the customer experience will ultimately suffer. It just will.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so what are the tangible benefits then for organizations that really embrace service design? Especially thinking about this new AI landscape where so much is happening behind the curtain, orchestrated by agents.
The benefits are significant and they're deeply strategic, not just cosmetic. First, service design helps surface conflicts between stated business models and the reality of service delivery.
Finding the disconnects.
Exactly. It forces those sometimes difficult but necessary conversations about weak links in the chain, internal misalignments that might otherwise just fester.
Okay, brings issues to light.
Second, it reduces redundancies. By mapping everything out and providing that bird's eye view of the entire service ecosystem front stage and backstage, you can often pinpoint duplicate efforts, inefficient workflows, wasted resources. That can save serious money and time.
Efficiency gains. Makes sense.
And third, and perhaps most importantly, it helps form better relationships, both internally and externally. By aligning those internal backstage processes with the external front stage experience, you create consistency.
Like ensuring.
Like ensuring customer information is actually available across all support agents, eliminating that frustrating repetition we talked about. When the backstage works smoothly, the front stage feels seamless and supportive.
Building trust through competence.
Exactly. And it's worth noting, just as a historical aside, the term service design was actually coined way back in 1982 by Lynn Shostak.
Wow, 1982?
Yeah, which really highlights its enduring relevance. The principles were sound even before the internet as we know it, and they're arguably even more critical now with digital complexity and AI.
That's fascinating. Okay, bringing this back full circle to KXS Digital. How are they practically applying these insights? How are they pivoting their own business model to embrace this new era of AI and service design? It sounds like they're really trying to walk the talk.
They absolutely are. It's quite a deliberate shift. KXS Digital has made a clear strategic decision to pivot their core offering towards a service design business model. And this was directly influenced by these insights we've been discussing. especially the diminishing central role of traditional UI/UX artifacts like static wireframes.
Okay, so less focus on screens.
Much less. They're explicitly contrasting their old model versus their new service design model in their positioning.
How do those compare?
Well, the old model, like many traditional UX agencies, focused on very tangible, often screen-based outputs. Detailed UI/UX recommendations, wireframes, user flows, polished screen designs delivered on a per-project basis. The focus was often on the visual output, the digital art.
Right, delivering the mock-ups.
Exactly. Their new service design model, it's a complete shift in emphasis. It's now all about service blueprinting, mapping that whole ecosystem, journey orchestration, designing how all the parts work together over time, defining policy and workflow protocols, especially for AI agents, those rule sets we talked about.
Yeah, operating manuals.
Yes. And offering ongoing experience governance and service management, not just one-off projects. The focus has entirely shifted from output screens to outcomes and processes, how the entire service delivers value consistently, regardless of whether a traditional screen is even involved.
That's a bold strategic move. What concrete steps are they actually taking to implement this transformation, both internally, like with their team, and in how they engage with clients?
They have a very clear, multi-pronged strategic action plan. First, they're actively refocusing their offerings, shifting the language and the substance from UX design to service design consulting.
Okay.
They're explicitly offering services now like mapping whole service ecosystems, not just individual user flows on a screen. Things like service blueprinting, orchestration frameworks, policy surface design for AI. They want to be seen as key partners for designing, governing, and building trust in these new AI-driven experiences.
Positioning themselves for the future.
Definitely. Second, internal capability development. That means upskilling their existing team and recruiting new talent with expertise in service design thinking, operations thinking, experience strategy, maybe even ethics.
Building the right team.
Third, a process overhaul internally. They're replacing things like traditional UX audits with much more comprehensive service blueprinting workshops involving multiple stakeholders. They're augmenting user personas to include details about relevant backstage processes, potential AI agent tasks involved in the journey, and identifying where trust scaffolding is needed.
Integrating the backstage into the design tools.
Exactly. And finally, their client onboarding and engagement model is changing. Project kickoffs are being reframed as service intent orchestration sessions.
Service intent orchestration.
Yeah, involving C-level stakeholders from the get-go. Using co-creation workshops to map the desired business and customer outcomes, the key service components, and the governance needs right from the start, before jumping into any specific interface design.
Setting the stage much more broadly. That's a really comprehensive shift, internal and external. It sounds like they're truly committing to this vision. So how are they communicating this new forward-looking focus to their clients, to the wider market? What's the new narrative they're putting out there?
Their new messaging really tries to capture this pivot and speak directly to where they believe the future is heading. For instance, their main headline now is something like, "From screens to seamless service."
Clear and concise.
Right. And the subheading clarifies it further. The future isn't about buttons and wireframes. It's about orchestrating outcomes, trust, and real value throughout the entire service journey.
Emphasizing outcomes and the whole journey.
Exactly. Their core value propositions listed on their site now explicitly include things like service design consulting, AI agent experience governance, and creating blueprints for transformation.
So very different from just UI/UX design.
Very different. Their stated goal now is to design the choreography of people, AI, and process, ensuring customers experience valuable outcomes, not just interact with interfaces. It really emphasizes that move beyond designing simple screens to architecting comprehensive service blueprints and crafting the policies needed for these complex, often AI-powered experiences.
We've certainly covered quite a journey in this deep dive today.
Yeah.
We started with the foundational principles of KXS Digital and their unique brain-based strategy,
Yeah.
then explored that really profound shift happening in UX/UI design, driven largely by AI, moving towards these less visible interfaces.
Disappearing UI.
Right, and landed on the crucial and clearly evolving role of service design and making sense of it all. It's abundantly clear listening to this that the role of designer, strategist, anyone involved in creating experiences is fundamentally transforming. It demands a much broader, deeper understanding of how services are actually delivered end to end.
Indeed it does. And maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to mull over. As these digital interactions become increasingly seamless, increasingly AI-driven, moving far beyond the traditional screens we've known, how will you ensure that fundamental human needs, that trust, and vital ethical considerations remain deeply embedded within these complex, orchestrated services?
Hmm.
What new forms of empathy, what new kinds of foresight will designers, leaders, all of us need to cultivate to truly shape this future responsibly and effectively?